This season is going to be known as subject to change. I like to, at the beginning of the season, be able to present you with all of the information, the forms, the schedule, how we're going to do it, and it doesn't change from there for the most part. Of course, it always does change some. This year, I think we'll be changing almost daily as we learn new information. So today I'm going to share with you as much as we know at this point. And somebody said recently, I thought this was the best thing I've heard during the pandemic: be flexible and you won't get bent out of shape. And I think that's going to be our one of our new mottos for the cross country season this year. Mission statement: pursuing excellence through teamwork and individual effort while building character and instilling pride in its student athletes. And that's going to be the same this year as it has been in past years. I think this year particularly, excellence during a pandemic. What does that look like? That's going to be even harder to achieve, but that's our mission. That's our goal. Our website, which I'm going to be referring to this afternoon, the documents, everything is out on our website. So somewhere or other, bookmark that: WLXC, West Lauderdale Cross Country Team.com, WLXCteam.com. And we'll be referencing some of the documents I just updated today. They're out there, and we'll be utilizing that. All right. Just quickly, I know we want to revisit this whole making the team. Time trials. We had talked about time trials being on the first day of practice, which was going to be tomorrow. The Mississippi High School Athletic Association moved back fall seasons 2 weeks. So, I'm sorry, cross country 1 week. I think football's moved back 2 weeks. So our first night of practice now is, actually 2 weeks, right, is going to be August 10th. So this week, and I'm going to go over the schedule here. I've got it a copy out on our website. So if you want to look at that, you can look at that. This week is still group runs. Group runs are optional. Again, same old as we've been doing Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. But this week on Tuesday night, I think we're going to do the first time trial. Okay, so we're going to do time trials this Tuesday. We might do some Thursday for those that don't show up Tuesday. And then we'll have, for those that don't show up either of those days, we'll do it on Monday. But we're just going to start doing those time trials Tuesday, Thursday, and then for everybody else who hasn't had them yet, on that Monday. It's going to be fairly informal. We're going to mark out a course there. Some of it will be pavement. Some of it will be on grass. We'll mark it out there at Okeechobee Dam, kind of where we've been running at. And 2 miles, middle school runners, we're expected to have you achieve it 2 miles in under 25 minutes. High school runners, 3 miles under 35 minutes. If you've been coming all summer long, you've been working hard, you don't quite meet that standard, we'll put you onto a practice squad. If you have just not been running this summer and don't meet that standard, we might have to do some social distancing there. All right. A few other things to go over. Practice procedures. We will send out practice procedures. This is for the first night of practice on Monday. We'll probably send out some updated practice procedures as we put things in place. It's going to be really important for us to make sure that everybody stays safe and that we achieve social distancing. Runners, we're going to have to count on you to help us achieve that. Parents, help us achieve that. Keep it in mind. We don't want to get lax, because what's going to happen, and we've seen this happen in sports teams at West Lauderdale, we've seen it happen across the county, is somebody comes down with COVID and then everybody who's been close to that person has to quarantine for 2 weeks, or the whole team has to quarantine for 2 weeks. If our team has to stop meeting for 2 weeks, it's going to be a killer on our season. And so we're going to put things in place to try to keep us at a distance from one another so that if somebody gets sick, it doesn't spread throughout the rest of the team. So practice procedures, we will be putting some updated. We have the group run practice procedures that we set up, but we're going to be updating those. And this is going to be a situation where we're going to be modifying those every night. We're going to, as a coaching staff, we're going to talk about what's working, what's not working, and we're going to continually modify that throughout the season. But runners, you're going to be the key to that. If you will just keep in mind, don't clump together in large crowds. Just give each other a little bit of personal space, and let's try to keep that social distancing happening. All right, I'm going to go out to our website. So our website is www.WLXCteam.com. Out there, you can see our new senior picture out there. You see all kind of stuff. Under the general information, this is where we're going to be putting information. So when I tell you it's on the website, look out to here. First thing I want to go over is the schedule. So we're revising the schedule a little bit for this year. We are going to have all runners meeting on some nights, and some nights we're going to go varsity only. The varsity is going to be restricted back to about 10 runners that we choose to be on the varsity runners based on ability level and how dedicated they are, that kind of thing. So we will let people know who is on the varsity. So in green on this schedule, you'll see the schedule for all runners. This includes JV runners and middle school runners. The blue is for just the varsity runners. So we're going to start this week is going to be group runs. 6 p.m. is going to still be a thing. Saturday, we'll have a group run at 8 a.m. and we will have, I believe we're going to have some donuts after that. So if you want some donuts, come to our group run at 8 a.m. if they don't sell out to senior breakfast, which they will. All right. So next Monday, the 10th, is going to be our first night of practice. Again, we're going to do Tuesday and Thursday. We're going to give you an opportunity to do your time trial. Monday, if you haven't done it by Monday, you're going to do your time trial on that Monday. We're going to start practices the 10th next week, next Monday, a week from Monday. We're going to have practices Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday when we're not racing. That's for all runners, okay? Wednesday practices are going to be for just the varsity runners. JV and middle school, and I'll talk about this a little more, we're going to give you a circuit workout to do on your own. But the Wednesday practices are just going to be for varsity runners. A lot of the times, if we get permission, most of the times those are going to be at the track. We hope, MCC track. We have to get permission for that first. But we are going to have just varsity practicing on Wednesdays. Now we'll go through. So the first week of the season is the 10th through the 15th. On the 17th, we will issue uniforms. On the 17th, we will issue uniforms. On the 24th, so a word about the meets. In past years, we have hosted a number of meets that have been fairly large, 10 to 12 teams. We often have 250 to 300 runners running at these meets. That's included the Okeechobee Classic, the Clarko Invitational, the Northeast Lauderdale Invitational was hosted at our place last year. The East Mississippi Classic was hosted at our place, and the Lauderdale County Meet Invitational was hosted at our place. This year, we are going to scale back considerably. The meets that we host at our place are just going to be essentially low-key meets with the county schools, Meridian High School, and Newton County. The reason being, first of all, they haven't opened the park yet, and we don't know that they are going to open the park yet. So my sense is that they're not going to open the park. So we don't really have use of that whole pavilion area, the ability to park up there. And then on top of that, the suggestions and criteria that they've given us for cross-country meets are very restrictive, and it would be almost impossible to do the types of things they're suggesting as far as social distancing, not starting everybody together. all of those things would be about impossible to do with 10 to 12 teams there. With 5 or 6 teams, we feel like we can run a meet safely. Now the course might look very different. We might actually do the course on down there around the spillway using the lower loops and just stay on that lower area. We have to kind of see at this point. But that is going to be the nature of the meets that we have. We will probably do a series of meets, about 5 meets in all, and overall we'll probably come up with some awards for the best overall runners, you know, top 5, whatever. We'll come up with that, but we are going to start scaled back. Now, if we see that things are opening up, the virus all of a sudden goes away or disappears, which I don't think it's going to, then we will ramp up. We can throw together an Okeechobee Classic and get 10 teams there. We can do all of that. If the campground or if the Okeechobee Dam opens up, we can ramp up then. But at this point, we're going to keep everything very small, very low key as far as the meets that we host. So on the 24th, we're going to do the WLXC meet. It's going to be a practice meet. It's probably going to be a 2-mile run for everybody that's there. And we will also do pictures that day. So we'll wear our uniforms, and what I envision again for pictures this year is we'll probably take an individual shot of every individual, and then we'll go ahead and put them into a team picture. We'll formulate that. That's, again, at this point, subject to change. At this point, that's how I envision doing that. So that's the week of the 24th. On that Saturday, the Mississippi High School opener at this point is planned over in Choctaw Trails. We'll be taking our varsity runners over to that. We're going to ask if this year, if they will allow parents to drive their children, their own children, over to the meet in Choctaw Trails. In the past, you've had to ride on the bus. We're going to see if we can get an exception to that due to the pandemic. So that's going to be the last Saturday in August, Mississippi High School opener for varsity only. Blue is varsity only. That's going to be generally about the top 7 to 10 runners on each boys and girls. The next week, full week of September, we're going to have a meet on Saturday morning, the 5th, September 5th. Again, low key, about 5 teams there. We'll start it at 8 a.m. and we'll probably be pulling away 9:30 that morning. So it's going to be quick. We're going to be in there, run when it's cool. We're going to be out of there, have your whole Saturday to enjoy. That's everybody, junior high and middle school, JV and varsity. Labor Day, at this point, we're going to plan to practice September. Our practices moved to 5:30. Again, we're going to go through that. At this point, Clarko has said they will allow us to have a meet out there, so we'll plan on having the Clarko meet out there on September 12th. Again, low-key, 5 or 6 teams. We'll start it at 8 a.m. We'll get out of there by 9:30, 10 o'clock at the latest. The 19th, at this point, Northeast is planning on having a meet. Subject to change. We'll see if it takes place. If it does, we'll plan to run there. He's talked about trying to run at the middle school this year, Northeast Middle School. I don't know what he's going to do, so we'll just have to see. On the 26th, Excalibur is generally, the band show is there, so we generally keep that day open. We'll have practice for all the non-band students, but we'll plan on having the last meet of the season on Monday, September 28th, the last meet for non-varsity runners. So it's going to be a quicker season for middle school and JV. Generally speaking, we finished the week after on the 5th, so it's only 1 week shorter. But that'll give us a chance to get a good experience, run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meets, and get a chance to compete. And like I say, I'm not opposed to a Lauderdale County Invitational meet. If we start to see middle of September that hey, people are having big meets and there's no problems, and the campground opens up, or Okeechobee Dam opens up the gate, then we may have that Lauderdale County Invitational. I'll keep people informed. But at this point in time, we're going to plan on just doing low-key meets. MC, then for the varsity runners, after that, we have MC Watson on the 3rd. We'll look at a meet on the 10th, potentially, over in Clinton. We'll see, again, subject to change. We're going to try to run our district meet at Mississippi College this year, so it prepares us for our state meet, which this year, the 4A state meet, is on Monday. And then we're going to have the banquet on the 9th. So that's the schedule. I will put up here updated and what date it's been updated on. So as the schedule changes, I'll try to update it from time to time so that you can see the latest and greatest. All right. Also on our website, if you go into general information, you will find the WLXC information. I guess I need to. So I'm just going to go over this. This is the same, pretty much the same information I went over at the beginning of the season, so I'm not going to go back over it again in depth. WLXC mission, you're familiar with that. Cross country explained. If you're not familiar with the sport yet, read there kind of how it's scored and all of that. The time trials we talked about, we're going to start doing them Tuesday and Thursday next week. Practice squad. Just a word on practice squad. In the past, we have really bent over backwards to try to give people an opportunity, you know, to meet the goal, and sometimes even working with students that weren't as motivated. This year, I think we might have a little less patience, just because if you want to be out there, if you want to work hard and give us your best effort, I want everyone there that's ready to give us your best effort. But if you're not really sure about whether you want to do it, you don't really feel like, you know, we don't feel like we're getting your best effort on every night. We don't have enough time and resources and space, to be quite frank with you, to sort of carry along runners who, you know, we're asking them to do stuff and they're just pretty much out there walking and you know, not even sweating or breathing hard or anything like that. So we're going to expect a little bit more this year. Just be prepared for that, and don't be surprised that, well, you know, last year you put up with some nonsense. That this year I think it's going to be somewhat different. Practice schedule, we talked about that. This is an important thing. We realize that there are times when your schedule may conflict with practice, okay? At those times, you need to call or text me, a parent, not students are not supposed to text coaches. A parent needs to text me ahead of time. When you know that you're going to be unable to come to a certain practice, you need to text me and let me know. Most of the times we're fine with it, but now I'm going to say there's certain things that certain meetings and that kind of thing where you're going to need to make a choice whether cross country is your priority or something else is your priority, okay? And so, but again, we try to work with folks, and we have worked with folks a lot, but at some point in time, if it's like I've got to miss 2 days of practice a week, it's like cross country is not enough of a priority for you, and it's probably better off that you focus on the things that you need to focus on. So a good rule of thumb is look at cheerleaders and football players, and if they wouldn't ask off for that on a practice, then you probably shouldn't ask off a cross country practice either. So that's just a general rule of thumb that I generally ask people when they tell me they're going to need to miss a certain practice. Practice details. Everybody needs to have a watch. Every year we're constantly fighting this. I see even some varsity runners without a watch on. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make logical sense. I have some watches I can sell you for $10. You can go to Walmart for $10 and get a watch. It doesn't make sense to be running cross country without a watch. It doesn't. Hydrate every day. Every year we have a situation where somebody gets dehydrated, gets sick. Avoid it. You've got to hydrate, and that means you've got to hydrate ahead of time. You've got to be drinking water while you're in school. Bring a water bottle with you every practice. I can't say that enough. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Proper nutrition, and come mentally prepared for practice. You know, all the time I get somebody that says, oh, I was out swimming all day, so I can't run hard, or, you know, just whatever. You know we're going to practice. You know we're going to work hard at practice. Come prepared to work hard at practice. Get your rest, all of that. Injuries, everybody, most people go through that at one point in their running career or another. Rest, ice, compression, elevation. Meet schedule. The last meet of the season is going to be the end of September for all runners. And it talks about kind of what I talked about. Communication. If you are not on Remind right now, if you are not on the Remind app at this point, you need to go, and right here on our website, WLXC Remind app, it will tell you how to join the Remind app, as it does here. Join the Remind app. That's how we communicate everything. I think we've got most people on there, but you will miss out if you don't join that. We're going to be telling you more about Dragonfly. Dragonfly is where we keep up with typical forms you need to sign, that kind of thing. We will send out more information about Dragonfly in the coming week. Physicals are something that everybody needs to have a physical as of August 10th. Let me back up. I'm sorry. Everybody that had a physical for 2019-20, that carries over for this year. You're good. If you are a new runner and you have not participated in a high school sport before, okay, so that's 7th graders this year, then you need a physical on file. They gave free physicals on August 22nd. We've gone up there. We've made a copy of your physical. If you took a physical on that day, you're good. But if you did not show up on that day and you don't have a physical on file yet, you need to go out and get a physical and hand it in to us. We'll get it into the office, and that will count for all athletic activities that you do at the school this year. So physicals are still a requirement for those that don't have one on file for last year. Sponsorships. On this general information form, at the very bottom, there is a new sponsorship form. Yes. Oh, all right. There is a new sponsorship form. All right. We're changing the sponsorships up this year. In the past, we have had $125, $250, and $500 sponsorship. This year, we're going to be doing a lot less with our meets, and so we're not going to get the team banner this year. We do have the senior picture that you saw in the announcement for this meeting. We do have that senior picture. We'll display that. We're going to have the senior banners. We're doing them in cloth this year. They'll look nice. We'll display that. But we're doing less of that. And we know it's going to be probably tougher to get sponsorships during this time. Small businesses are going through some tough times. So we're just making the 2 levels, okay? And I'll go over what comes with each level. But I would really encourage anybody that knows a business that can sponsor us, please go out and sell one sponsorship at least. It's going to help us significantly. We're not complaining at all, but our funds from last year got cut because of the pandemic. We didn't have baseball season to provide extra funds for. This year, they're going to be, the school's going to help us out where they can, but money is tight at the school as well. And so we're fairly limited on the funds that we have this year. So any sponsorships we can sell, it includes helping us buy race day shirts for those that don't have them, doing entrance fees, course upkeep, transportation costs, the team banquet at the end of the year, and much, much more. And we have 11 seniors this year, and we like to do special things for our seniors. We want to be able to do those kinds of things this year. So, and also, we're not going to have, so it used to be that the big meets that we hosted, we would get $100 per team. We're not going to have that. The Moonlight Run, we don't have the Moonlight Run this year, so we're not going to have that. So please, 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 if you can sell a sponsorship, sell a sponsorship. If not, we ask that each person contribute $50 towards team expenses. So if you can't sell a sponsorship, we ask that you contribute $50 per runner towards team expenses. We're going to collect up sponsorships and the $50 contribution Monday, August 10th. The first night of practice, we're going to collect that up. So this week, that gives you this week to go around and ask, trying to sell those sponsorships. Again, if we look at the sponsorships, what we're going to do this year, we're going to print out a nice 20 by 30 schedule with the team picture on it, and we put all of our sponsors on there. Those that do $125 sponsorship will get their name on that team schedule. For those that do the $250, they'll get their logo on that schedule, and we're also going to create a nice 20 by 30 cloth banner that will have the team picture on it and will say proud sponsor of WLXC 2020, and it will have that person's or that business's logo on there. So it'll be a nice thing where they can hang it up in their place of business to show that they sponsored it. So again, I don't like to beg too much, but if you need me to call a business and beg for money, I'll gladly do that, because we want to make this season as special as we can for the entire team and especially for our seniors. So that's sponsorships. Volunteer opportunities, will be tapping you on the shoulder, but we'll also probably send out a Google form if we haven't already to see about parent sponsors. Uniforms will be distributed. We want runners to wear their uniform on race day, along with their race day shirt. If you have not kept up with your race day shirt, or you outgrew your race day shirt from last year, let us know and we will try to locate one for you. Maybe you can trade one in. Social media, it talks about social media, our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of that is there. T-shirts. The T-shirt order is in. We will distribute those on the first night of practice, so that if you ordered T-shirts, bring your money that first night and bring exact change. We're not going to have change to deal with there. So bring exact change for your T-shirts. Not August 3rd, I'm sorry. It's going to be August 10th. It's going to be August 10th. See that there. Some information about shoes, school days insurance, and then the end of year banquet is going to be on Monday the 9th. Okay. Kathy, I'll let you go first. Anything that I've neglected to say?
Oh, hang on. Let me get up.
Got some questions.
Returning runners can go on Dragonfly, and parents need to electronically sign all of the forms that they signed last year. That's the only update that needs to be done on Dragonfly for returning runners. You just got to sign the forms again. That's all. Okay.
Now, Dragonfly, I've got on here, and I don't know if this is, I've got on here the school code. So on that general information page, it has the school codes for West Lauderdale High School and middle school. So if you need that, do you need the school code to sign in, Kathy?
If they're creating a new account,
okay,
they may need to tell them to get with me, because I may have to talk with Jody about that. I have not been given a new school code. It may be the same.
If you downloaded the app on your phone last year, you should be able to just click back into that app and it remembers your login and everything, right?
It should. Yes, mine did.
Okay.
So if not, just find me at practice. We'll work through it. Yes.
So existing runners, go out and check out and see if you can get the form signed on Dragonfly. If not, we'll be distributing information on how to get there if you forgot or if your app's not there, that kind of thing. Okay.
Right. And okay, we got
else?
There's a few questions on the chat I can answer.
Right. Okay.
It's not too late to order a shirt. We did order a few extra.
We have not. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, go ahead. That's your question.
I was just going to say we have not placed the order for race day shirts yet, but we're going to get an idea of who all is that first night of practice. We'll get a list of names and we'll try to get those ordered. We have some extra still around from last year, and we'll order additional if we need to. Anything else, Kathy?
I don't think so. And Lynn, that was you about the shirt. Just get with me and let me know what size you need.
All right. Misty Atkinson, Coach Misty, anything from you? You're muted.
I don't really have anything to add.
Okay.
I think you've covered it pretty well.
All right. One thing I did not mention, and we're going to have to kind of see how this works. Our practice procedures, we're going to have to figure out. I think we're going to probably meet and stretch on the other side of the gate on the road. We'll see. But one thing that you will need, I didn't mention, is a yoga mat. We will be doing some core during the season, so we'll have to talk about when we do that. But Coach Misty is our core master that directs all of that. So, all right. Jonas, are you on here somewhere? I can barely hear you. Do you have anything, Jonas, that we need to add on into this? You there, Jonas? All right. I'm not hearing you, Jonas, but if you have anything, go ahead and type it into the chat right now so I can see that. All right. Any other questions? Anything I haven't covered? Again, it is subject to change. We will try to do our best to communicate throughout the season. And when something changes, we're going to communicate it out on Remind, and we're probably going to post it on the website. So keep that website bookmarked, and let's have a great season. Let's have a great season. I'm excited about it, and I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. Okay. Thank you, everybody.